Mike Moore Media.
In our studios, Seth Woodall with Seth M. Woodall and Associates, a law firm here in Rockingham County, in Eden and Madison, and now a candidate for North Carolina Lieutenant Governor. Hey, Seth, always good to have you here.
Yes, sir, Mike. Thanks for having me.
And the last time we did this podcast, I couldn't say that because that's been in the works, and now that announcement has been made. Congratulations with that, and I'm excited with you.
Thank you. We announced about August 23rd, and we've been working for close to a month on this candidacy, and so we're excited.
Well, now, you say you've been working on it for about a month, but really it goes back further than that, just kind of getting in place, didn't it?
Well, we went public with this, I think, August 23rd, and so prior to that, I've been working on this for approximately 1 year, have a team. We've been trying to organize this for a year, and I think we've done a really good job, and I've got a really good team behind it.
Now, people who have never run for political office, and I'm one of those, don't realize what's involved, even on the local level, but then you're looking at the state level. There's a lot more than people know, isn't there?
It is extremely complicated, and this lieutenant governor's race is a statewide race. We're having to cover 100 counties and trying to represent the entire citizenship of the state.
Now, when you're looking at 100 counties across North Carolina, how in the world do you ever put together the program to do that?
You know, it's difficult. That's a very challenging thing with family and business and just time constraints. But we have organized. We have a scheduler. There's multiple people involved in this, and so we have just put together a comprehensive schedule of locations to be and events to appear at, and we're going to get them done one by one.
Now, your law firm, very successful here in Rockingham County. You've got a good team there. And I guess people are wondering, will you be able to continue practicing law and do this at the same? How does that work?
Yeah, so, you know, I've worked very closely with the people that are behind me and the organizers that I've got. And we're going to keep the law firm open. I will continue to be involved, especially over the next 18 months until we hopefully get to Raleigh in January 2025. But the law firm will continue to operate and will continue to represent the citizens of the county. And, you know, we've been quite successful, but it's all because of the community support that we've had thus far.
Let's talk about that community support. You and your team were at River Fest this past weekend, Friday and Saturday. What kind of feedback were you getting?
It was amazing. It was quite humbling to know the amount of support that we actually received in our hometown.
Well, I know a lot of people came by to see you and pick up some things representing your campaign, so that was good.
It was amazing, really, to see how many people came by and actually were willing to give donations, to buy raffle tickets, to buy hats. We ran out of several things, so we were selling hats. We were giving away T-shirts. Those went immediately. So we're really humbled at the support that we received here locally.
That's great. Tell us, for us that may not have been following you on Facebook and not really know what's going on with your campaign for Lieutenant Governor, why are you running for this state office? You know,
I've watched over the last several years the moral decay, the societal decay, and I just feel like it's time that somebody steps up, and I think that I have the ability to lead, and that's my intent, is to try to go to Raleigh and make a difference for this state and for the future generations. I'm certainly probably most concerned about my children and their children and generations to come.
Mm-hmm. I know your faith is very important to you, and that plays a big part in this campaign as well.
It does. You know, I think, you know, I say I'm humbled at the support that I've had in the community, and I am, but, you know, without my faith, I would really have nothing.
Yeah. Let's talk about maybe your platform, your campaign. If you could give us maybe the points there that you are really going to be pushing when you're out in the community, when you're out in the state, actually, the people you'll be talking to, what will you be telling them?
You know, we've got 5 principles that we're really kind of campaigning on. One is the economy. The second is election integrity. Third is law and order. Fourth, Second Amendment. And then fifth, the education.
Let's elaborate on those a little bit.
All right. So, you know, looking at the economy, North Carolina has a really strong economy. We're really attracting some good businesses. I think our budget is in good shape. We've done a good job, but when you look at the state as a whole, it's clear to me that the average family is living paycheck to paycheck, and I think that we need to do something to try to reduce taxes. on an individual level to allow families just to live and to have extra money at the end of the day. And I think it's certainly something that we can accomplish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe a couple of other points there too then.
Yeah, so the election integrity, and I've said this before, if you lose the integrity of an election, you lose democracy. And this entire country was founded upon democracy and the ability to choose the leaders that you want within your respective community. North Carolina has done some great things through legislation with voter ID laws, and I think there's some work to be done, but we've got to ensure that our elections are fair and that we are actually counting the votes and getting the right folks into office.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other things you need to stress?
Well, there's a couple others. Law and order is huge to me. Law enforcement, first responders. I think the entire state needs to get behind these individuals who really sacrifice a great deal of their lives to protect you and I. And this is law enforcement, first responders, fire, EMS. That's extremely important to me to try to get behind these individuals to make sure they have what they need to continue to protect you and I and our families.
Like many other organizations, great to have a lot of those represented at Riverfest too.
It was a great turnout with first responders. There was law enforcement tents set up. There was EMS or rescue squad. And actually, we talked to, I can't tell you the dozens of individual law enforcement officers and first responders that came to our tent and said, you've got our full support. We know that you support us, and we're going to support you.
How important is that? Because when we see campaigns as they all come together and different organizations, different groups support a candidate, what are you looking for from that?
Well, we're just looking for support in general across the state. I would tell you that law enforcement and fire, EMS, and rescue squad are tremendous supporters. If you can get those guys behind you, they really talk to a lot of people in the community, so they have the ability to spread the word about you. So if they believe in you, word will spread quickly.
Yeah. I was talking to someone during the festival, and they said, I see Seth Woodall, the attorney, he's running for lieutenant governor. What political party is he in? And I said, he's a Republican. How important is that to be in the Republican Party for this campaign?
Well, I've been a Republican my entire life. I registered when I was 18 years old. Politics has always been a passion of mine. I never wanted to be a politician, though. My bachelor's degree is in political science. I'm interested in government affairs, and I've always had that interest. When I registered as a Republican at 18 years old, I've always believed in the Republican Party. And I believe that the principles instilled in me and through the Republican Party are what we need in our state.
Let's talk a little bit about where we are with the state budget. I wanted to mention that to you because this is we're 50 days past where we should be.
Right. Yeah. And I'm hoping that the legislature will come together and that they'll be able to pass a budget in the coming days. It's something they've been working on. There's been some hiccups along the way, but I think they're getting a lot closer from my understanding.
Yeah. Are there some things that you see right now that if you were in office, what would be some things that maybe you'd be concentrating on?
Well, going back to those 5 principles that I said a minute ago, the economy, the election integrity, law and order, Second Amendment, and education. I think those are the turning points that we really need to focus on at this time.
Yeah. You made an interesting comment a moment ago, and I've seen this just in a situation that we're kind of close to with something in that people seem to be living paycheck to paycheck. It's amazing. I don't know how some people can do that.
They do, and I think inflation has played a huge part of that. And it's hard from a state level to try to control the economy at the federal level, which I think is really what the biggest impact of inflation has been at the federal level. But I've got a lot of close friends, and they're just have normal jobs of modest means, and they're struggling on a daily basis just to get the things that they need for their children and to pay their groceries and their normal bills.
Yeah, you have to wonder about our older citizens, and have to make that choice. Now we've got winter time coming up. Do we have heat? Do we have medicine? Do we have proper care? And
we've talked to several senior citizens in the community across the state, and that is something that is a huge decision for them. I mean, these folks that are living on Social Security benefits and of modest retirement means are having to make decisions about medicine, food, and heat, and they should not be having to make those decisions.
Yeah. Well, you were at Riverfest, as we've just mentioned a couple of times. You do have a law office in Madison. Will you be at the festival there coming up, I think, October 21st?
We should be. I'll have to look at my schedule. Like I said a minute ago, we have an encompassing schedule for the next year and a half, or approximately a year and a half. And so we're trying to hit up a lot of the locations. And I know one thing that I've told my team is that my local community is very important to me, and that I want to continue to represent them. And even if we have things outside of the county, I want to try to make sure that we have representation at all of our local events.
Sure. Yeah. Well, we've got Madison coming up, Stoneville the end of September, so there are all kinds of opportunities for that. And I guess, this is a time when all the politicians are out and getting to all these festivals too. That's important.
It is, and we have an off-year election for the municipalities here in November, so we're just over the hill there. We'll be having a local election, and then our primary for the lieutenant governor's office for the Republican Party and the Democratic Party will be March 5th of next year, 2024, and then we'll move forward to the general election in November.
Today is National Voter Registration Day. Let's talk about that a moment, because that is, I had a statistic this morning in a newscast, 1 in 4 Americans who could vote are not registered to vote.
And, I think it's significant that we try to get any U.S. citizen, North Carolina citizen to register to vote, because if not, their voices cannot be heard. And I think we have a tremendous amount of our citizens of this state that are what I consider to be the silent majority, that they believe the same way that you and I believe, and they want better for the state, but they're just too busy, tied up in their day-to-day lives, just trying to make it through, and they don't get out and vote, and they don't get out and get involved just because they don't have the ability.
Yeah. We've got about a minute and a half left, Seth. Some closing comments from you about your campaign, and if anyone needs to reach you or be a supporter, how do they do that?
Well, so they can go online. We've got a website. We have social media. We have Facebook, Instagram, and just a regular website. They can go on. There's tabs that you can sign up to be a volunteer, and we need volunteers all over the state, not just locally, but all over the state. So anybody that wants to volunteer, and that's whether or not they're putting out yard signs, hosting events, fundraisers, or just trying to spread the word. So we need those volunteers. There's a donation tab. Unfortunately, politics is a very expensive business to get your name out there, and so any donations are greatly appreciated. And we're going to do everything we can for the citizens of this state, and I hope they'll get behind me.
Speaking of donations, quite unusual. You put $1 million. You loaned your campaign $1 million of your own money to kick things off.
That's right. And, I've had a lot of questions about that. And, my response has always been, if I don't believe in myself, it's not going to, it doesn't fare well for others. So I'm willing to put this money up because I believe in our cause. I believe in my organization. I believe in the people around me, and I believe in the people of this state. And so I'm going to do what I've got to do to get to that office. And I plan to be in Raleigh, January of 2025.
Speaking of fundraisers, one quick note. I have a note here to remind me that you do have a golf tournament coming up, Oak Hills here in Eden, Saturday, October 21st.
That's right. We're almost full. So anybody that wants to play or to be a hole sponsor, if they could reach out to us or to Shane Woodall, the information is on our website and on the Instagram page. Mm-hmm. And so we only have a few slots left. So if anybody wants to play, they need to go ahead and try to sign up.
Okay, great. Thanks. Always good to have you in the studio.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mike.
All right. Our local attorney here in Rockingham County offices in Eden and Madison, Seth Woodall, and a candidate for Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina. Again, you can get more information online at all of those social media places that he was telling us about.